Okay, today is Sunday, 26th of April 2026, midday, air temperature 26 degrees centigrade, about 79 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's mostly sunny, and my orchids are loving this weather. Now this is number 8 in the basic series, maybe another couple of videos after this to complete the series, and today I'm going to talk about stocking ratio, the number of MEDAKA you can keep in a tub. Probably I should have included this in a previous video in the series, but I forgot. So I'll talk about it now. So I think that the standard suggestion for tropical fish in an indoor aquarium is a stocking ratio of 1 inch of fish to 1 gallon of water. There are other suggestions based on perhaps a more scientific approach, but that's, if you like, the general rule of thumb. And applying that rule of thumb to MEDAKA, it means that one adult MEDAKA with a length of about 1.5 inches should have 1.5 gallons of water. Or in metric terms, which is what I normally use, one adult MEDAKA with a length of 40 millimeters requires about 6 liters of water. However, the general rule of thumb in Japan is usually taken to be one adult MEDAKA requires 1 liter of water, which is obviously substantially different to the tropical fish general rule of thumb of one adult MEDAKA requires 6 liters of water. Now, some of the difference can be because MEDAKA are very slim, with a body weight probably much lighter than an average tropical fish per inch, and therefore the amount of waste produced by a 40 millimeter long MEDAKA may be much less than the waste produced for a 40 millimeter long tropical fish. And maybe because MEDAKA do not require such good water quality as the more sensitive tropical fish, that may be one of the reasons. But also perhaps the recommendations for MEDAKA stocking of 1 fish per 6 liters includes for more frequent and high percentage of volume of water changes as compared to the stocking ratio for tropical fish. So I learned about keeping MEDAKA outdoors by watching a lot of Japanese YouTube videos some years ago, and over a period of time I collected bits of information to produce this table about stocking ratios and size of containers, etc., water changes, etc. Now, obviously, people have different ideas, different rules of thumb in Japan, but I think this table gives a reasonable idea of what may be followed by many people in Japan. The table may look a bit too complicated to be thought of as the basics, but it's all I've got. I'm not going to change it, and if anyone's interested, they can pick out whichever bits of information they think may be relevant to the way that they themselves keep their MEDAKA outdoors. But basically, I think the general rule of thumb in Japan for an outdoor bare tub with no aeration, as in the table, it suggests a 40 litre to 120 litre tub with up to 1 adult fish per 1.5 litres of water and 30% water changes every week. For an outdoor bare tub with aeration, the table suggests again a 40 litre to 120 litre tub with 1 adult fish per 1 litre of water and 30% water changes every 2 weeks. Now, obviously a lot of people use smaller tubs than that, and maybe they use different stocking ratios. But that, as I say, as far as I'm concerned, seems to be a general rule of thumb in Japan. Now, I don't necessarily follow what I've suggested in the table. For example, this tub is about 40 litres and has aeration. So according to the table, I should perhaps be able to keep 40 MEDAKA in it. But to me, that would look far too crowded. And apart from the fact I don't, like looking at a very crowded tub, much better just to see a shoal of MEDAKA, much less than 40 swimming around. But keeping 40 MEDAKA in this tub probably wouldn't give them the sort of good quality of life I aim for. So usually the maximum I'd keep is about 12 adult MEDAKA in this tub, and in this 60 litre tub here, probably I'd keep a maximum of about 20 fish. So that works out to about 1 adult MEDAKA per 3 litres of water, which is my usual practice, and that's providing that I've got aeration. Although I also have filtration, but aeration is one of the aspects. On the other hand, for short periods of time, I may keep far more fish on a temporary basis in a tub than that sort of stocking ratio. For example, these juveniles have been in here for about a week until I get time to sort them out into good quality fish and poorer quality fish. I don't really like to leave them in this tub for too long, so such a crowded state. So I must try to get around to sorting them out today into different tubs. Now, what I will say, obviously everybody's got to make their own decision on what they want to do in terms of number of fish in a particular size of tub. For me, 1 MEDAKA to 3 litres seems to work okay with aeration. The MEDAKA breed okay with that sort of ratio, but I have heard some MEDAKA, maybe more fancy strains, for breeding may require this maybe one fish to 6 litre ratio to make sure that they breed properly. Okay,